Yo, what up, everybody? It's P-Side. Today I got a really spicy deck profile for you guys. I took this to locals. I think there was like 14 players or something like that. I got second place with pure Lightsworn. So I just want to show you my guys my build real quick. So let's start with the main deck. 3 JD. This was a little excessive, but it's really nice to actually resolve this on your opponent because you just blow up their field, and it's not once per turn. One of my opponents, my round 4 opponent actually, Junior, shoutouts to Junior, he was very upset that I was able to activate this more than once. So that was really fun, actually. And all you need is 4 Lightsworns engraved, and it's really easy. I'll show you the rest of the cards. Next is Triple Raiden. I used to run a small Lightsworn engine, and I never ran 3 Raiden, but I realized that this card is very good. It's a warrior, it's a light, so it's really good to go into Curious with this. And it just mills 2, like, basically for its effect on the field, which is really nice. Then I'm running 3 Wolf. Obviously this is a brick, but you run 3 Recharge, which gets it out of your hand, and you also have Goblinberg, which is nice, and then you have a ton of different cards that discard cards from your hand. But it's just so satisfying milling Wolf, and it's a Beast Warrior, which is really nice for Curious. Likewise with Fellas, not as good as Wolf, so I'm only running 2, but it is a tuner. Once you summon Curious, you mill this, and it's basically a free monster. And then you can go into double Oh My God on your opponent, and it's really good. Next, Triple Lumina. She's so broken. She's like basically a 1-card, what's that 1 card called? Black Rose Dragon, which is really useful. It does waste your normal summon, but the real reason is mid-game, you can basically poop out your whole hand and summon a bunch of Luminas and then use them to link later. Next, I'm playing 2 Eclipse Wyvern. This searches JD, and it also searches another thing that I'll get to later. Next is Triple Fairy Tale Snow. This is why the deck is a thing. So obviously if they hit this, many people are under the impression that the deck would completely die. That is 100% true. Alright, then my spicy Destrudo, I can also search this with Eclipse Wyvern to make Black Rose, or to make Michael, or to make F.A. Dawn Dragster, or to target Lumina to make it level 4 and then make an Omega, or overlay for a level 4 or rank 4 and then put it back in grave for use next turn. But I didn't use it as much as I thought I would. In testing, it came up a lot more. Next are the spicy 1-ofs. I got the Shirinui Spirit Master. If you mill it or if you Foolish Burial it, you can banish it and then bring it back later with Bujinki Amaterasu or another spicy card that I will talk about later. But it basically pops one of your opponent's face-up cards. Next is the Goblinberg. It's searchable by Rhoda. It's nice to just have one in there. I know it's Earth, but still, whatever. I really like this card because whenever I see it, it's nice, but I don't want to see too many, so I'll just run 1. And the deck space is really tight. I'm running actually 42 in this build. Next is Giant Rex. It's really nice to have one of these because every turn it comes back. And it's just a free plus every turn. You guys know about it already. Next is another spicy tech, Supreme King Dragon Darkworm. So obviously, if I'm playing this, you guys know that I am also playing ways to get dragons in the grave, but it's probably not the one that you think I'm playing. But basically, this lets you, most hands I want to say, this lets you basically Minerva before your normal summon, which is absolutely insane. Next, that's all the monsters. Next is spells. Let's start off with the field spell. This is what can send Eclipse Wyvern, Supreme King Darkworm, or even Destrudo if you absolutely need it. It's really nice, and it gets cards that you want in your graveyard out of your hand, which is why I like. And it's not once per turn, which is, or well, it is once per turn, but like you can activate the second one, which I've done. Unlike Dragon Shrine, which is a hard once per turn. Next, I run Triple Terraforming to search that, and you're like, why would you run 2 Ravine and then 3 Terraforming? Because of this broken field spell, Chaos Zone. Do you guys know what this does? Okay, every time a monster is banished, your opponent's or yours, you get a counter on this. And then once per turn during your turn, you can remove counters to special summon a level 4 or higher, depending on how many counters you removed, monster from your banish zone. And when this is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you get to search your deck for a light or dark monster with a level less than or equal to the number of counters on the card at the time of destruction. This card is amazing in this deck. Which is actually why I built this deck, because of that card, because I finally got 2 copies. Next, 3 charge. This is obvious. 3 solar recharge. I am running 11 main decked Lightsworns. So this is live a lot more often than not. It's really too bad Broad Bull got hit. Rest in peace. So we can't search our Arcus to always have this live, but it's still really good. Next, I ran 2 Gold Sark. This is really good for getting something that you need out of your deck, like Spirit Master. It can pop something during your opponent's turn, or if you're starting, you can immediately summon Giant Rex. And then if you already have both of those outside of your deck and you have an Omega on field, you can basically use this to search anything to your graveyard. Like you can activate it, banish Snow, and then during your opponent's standby phase, Snow becomes live. Next is Rhoda, the one-ups. Rhoda. This searches Goblinberg or Raiden, which is really nice because having a choice is very good. And then finally, Foolish Burial. I mean, it sends any monster in your deck to the graveyard. So as you can see, no Soul Charge, no Monster Reborn. I didn't really miss it, but moving forward, I do think I will main deck Monster Reborn. It is in the side. All right, let's go into the extra deck. First is Curious the Lightsworn Dominion. This is actually really easy to make in Pure. I ran this in a non-Pure build for like basically a year, and I used the plant combo, but I didn't have Brilliance. In this deck, it's insanely easy to summon. I mean, it's basically every single time. Next is Decode Talker, and then Underclock Taker. These were just to basically clear my field of extra monsters. The link mechanic kind of hindered the way the deck can function. But if you are stuck with like an Xyz monster in your extra monster zone, these two can like clear it out. But you can play other cards instead if you'd like. But next is the Xyz. Bujinki Amaterasu. This is really nice for bringing your hand traps back to your hand. I don't main deck any hand traps because I want to go as fast as possible my first turn, assuming I win the die roll. But I do side effect failures and whatnot. So this is really good for that. Plan B for slowing your opponent down. This is for back row decks or anything that you're afraid of. You can just pop a spell or trap, and this deck poops out Xyz monsters like no other. So you can have this next to an Abyss Dweller, so your opponent has no graveyard effects, and you get to pop one of your spells and traps. Castel is mainly for baiting. I mean, you can bait things out, and then once they get rid of this or deal with this, then you can continue with your other plays. Then you play 2 Minerva. 1 is good, but like 2, I find myself going into 2 all the time, so I highly recommend going 2. And then finally Abyss Dweller for slowing down decks that rely on the grave, which is a lot of them. Well, anything rogue, actually. Next, Synchros. I run 2 Omega. You'd be surprised at how often I go into this, and I do side Gammas, so it's really nice to have 2 Omegas because they come back next turn and then you kill your opponent. Really fun. Next are the level 7s. I run Michael for another name, and then one time this was destroyed and I had 10 Lightsworns engraved, so I put them all back into the deck and I gained 3,000 life points, which is really nice. Black Rose for blowing up your opponent's board before your JD, which is really awesome. It baits out their strike and whatnot. And then F.A. Dawn Dragster, if you know your opponent has like board wipes and stuff, they'll have to go through this first, and it's really nice. All right, this is the extra deck, and then finally the side deck. I ran 3 Ross Sphere modes in the tournament. They did not come in, but I mean, when you are dealing with extra Link Goki running around, you do need to have something to deal with them, like Cyber Dragons and Mega Fleet, or this. Next is my hand traps. I ran 3 Effect Failure because we're budget over here, 3 Gamma, and then 1 Driver for the Gamma. Next, spells. I sided the Monster Reborn. I will be maining it. I think 3 JD is too much and 2 Destrudo is too much, so I might take out maybe 1 JD and 1 Destrudo, put Monster Reborn, maybe take something else out as well. Twin Twisters for back row decks. I didn't see it all tournament, but I sided against Paleo. I actually went first against Paleo, killed them, and then game 2, I just overpowered them. This deck has so many resources. It's insane. Finally, Gaga Cowboy for the new time rules. If you do find yourself in time and you're stuck in your main phase and you started off, you win because you will be able to make a level 4 or a rank 4 Xyz monster in the form of Gaga Cowboy. So yeah, that's the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.